let's talk about pharmakeia real quick.
Yeah.
I brought up this study the other episode, but did not actually bring the heat.
You brought up the story. You didn't bring the story.
Yeah, I mentioned the data, but let's actually talk about it real quick. NewYorkPost.com headline: I ended up staying depressed for a decade longer than I needed to. Prozac users shocked by new study. Ooh. The Prozac users are shocked. It's a hard pill to swallow. The Prozac generation is responding to a controversial new study from the University College London that debates the efficiency of antidepressants. I don't know if they meant efficiency there. I think they meant efficacy. Yeah, but they put efficiency. The Prozac generation is responding to a controversial new study from University College London that debates the efficiency of antidepressants, suggesting there's no evidence that depression is caused by a chemical imbalance and negating the decades-old notion that a serotonin deficiency is the reason for the mental health disorder gripping an estimated 21 million Americans. Quote, it is always difficult to prove a negative, but I think we can safely say that after a vast amount of research conducted over several decades, there is no convincing evidence that depression is caused by serotonin abnormalities, particularly by lower levels or reduced activity of serotonin. The study's lead author, Joanna Moncrief, a professor of psychiatry at UCL, said in a statement. The study draws into question the efficacy of antidepressants, which millions of Americans have come to rely on. Quote, many people take antidepressants because they have been led to believe their depression has a biochemical cause. But this new research suggests this belief is not grounded in evidence, says Moncrief. The findings weren't shocking to Mags Baker, a 37-year-old who has been on and off meds like Prozac and Lexapro since she was 20. Ugh. Quote, when I read the study, I said, that doesn't surprise me. It's another thing that big pharma has been pushing on us for such a long time. The single mom and business owner from Austin, Texas told the Post, quote, all of these years I took a pill because my doctor kept telling me my brain just needed a boost because of my chemical imbalance. I believed them and I ended up staying depressed for a decade longer than I needed to, continued Baker, who weaned herself off them in March with holistic therapy. Quote, interesting mention there. Quote, I just craved getting off this hamster wheel, feeling bad, getting more medicine from the doctor, but because I'd been on antidepressants for so long, I thought that was just the solution, Baker said. Matt Huther, 35, a psychiatric nurse practitioner from Cedar Rapids, Iowa, who was diagnosed with ADHD, depression, anxiety, and OCD 11 years ago, can relate. Quote, I thought these diagnoses were a life sentence because I believed they were a symptom of a biochemical brain imbalance that I could do nothing about, Huther said. He was prescribed numerous antidepressants, but they didn't work for him. Quote, medication for me gave uncharacteristic suicidal thoughts that I hadn't had until I started taking them, he said. Quote, I began working through my problems in counseling and found the help I needed by discovering my innate resilience to overcome my negative emotions. I found out they were related to troubling circumstances, not because of my broken brain. And goes into some more examples here. I'm trying to get to the second part.
There's a quote here from Thea Gallagher, a psychologist and clinical assistant professor in the Department of Psychiatry at NYU Langone Health. And the quote is, we still have robust clinical trials showing that SSRIs can be effective. The studies should help people who are just on an SSRI, just on medication, to also know that there are things you can do cognitively, emotionally, to understand the things that are impacting your mood. I don't think it's just about running to get off your SSRI. Don't do that. Got to keep that money coming in. But realizing that multiple factors and avenues we can do better our mental health. Did I read that wrong? Realizing the multiple factors and avenues we can do to better our mental health. Okay, that makes sense.
And this brings up a point that does not come up in this article, but has come up in others, which is they recognize that SSRIs have helped some people, but now they say we don't know why. We don't know why it's actually helping them, because the evidence shows that the serotonin imbalance is not the cause of depression.
Right.
But something going on in the SSRIs, perhaps it is not the mechanism that they expected. Some people still are, having legitimate receiving legitimate help from these things, but they just have to admit now we don't know exactly what it is about them or in them that is helping these people.
Man, this is, in terms of vindication or just some level of that, this is a big one, because I think a lot of people.
Tom Cruise.
Yeah, Tom Cruise.
Remember Tom Cruise's interview?
Yeah.
That's been getting passed around here.
Yeah.
With a notorious and shamed sex offender. What's his name? Shoot, I forgot his name. Oh, no, I got to look it up. Anyways, when Tom Cruise was in his, what is it called? Scientology, going on doing lots of interviews about Scientology, and he was going off on psychiatry. And let's see here. I'll figure it out.
Okay.
Anyways, but not just Tom Cruise. Lots of people.
Yeah, lots of people.
Have questioned the efficacy of it. And again, it's tough, because I do believe that there are some people who, I know people who claim to be get help from these sorts of things. And if it helps. Matt Lauer, thank you. Yes, you have Tom Cruise and Matt Lauer, infamous rapist now, versus crazy person Tom Cruise. Anywho, we just don't know. We just don't know why it's helping. And certainly there's a lot of things in this world why, that do things that we don't know why they do them. But as we talked about last episode, the movement towards things like psychedelic therapy and the FDA and big pharma getting involved in psilocybin and things like that is a wonderful control mechanism for the future weird great resets, psychedelic transhuman future we're all going to live in.
We're all going to be, everyone's going to be tripping, man. We're all going to be tripping in the metaverse, hanging out, bro. Yeah. What up?
It's going to be a blast.
Yeah.